have you ever spent your whole life wishing for just one thing? Just one. That is Hal Stewart's life.
You almost died, but I saved you.
Hal has spent most of his adult life fantasizing about Roxanne. That dream always seemed impossible, until it suddenly isn't. The stars have aligned, and that fantasy is about to come true.
Isn't this great? Now there's nothing keeping us apart.
But we're jumping the gun here. Before this moment, the moment when Hal's life changes forever, Hal was a very different man. He had very different beliefs, and he did very different things. Every single thing that he believed and did led up to this one moment, and it changes everything. To get to this life-altering moment, we have to start from the beginning.
The very beginning.
Hal is a cameraman, and Roxanne is a reporter. There is a lot to love about Roxanne. She's cute and smart, and she has a very big heart. Hal catches feelings.
I'm not saying I love you. Hey, I love you, whatever.
Hal has the hots for Roxanne, but he's not the only man who can see her pretty face, her big eyes, and her even bigger heart. There is a lot of competition. The frontrunner is this guy.
Metroman.
Metroman.
Metroman has super strength, super speed, super everything. He can fly and juggle babies and shoot lasers out of his eyes. This guy puts the ooh in cool. Everybody loves him. Hal can only wish.
If I were Metroman, Megamind wouldn't be kidnapping you all the time.
Hal spends 80% of his time fantasizing about Roxanne. He spends the remaining 20% awkwardly trying to ask her out. But she doesn't want him. He doesn't even register on her radar. She seems to be way more into Metroman. But Metroman has a nemesis who takes up a lot of his time.
Megamind. Incredibly handsome criminal genius and master of all villainy.
Megamind likes kidnapping Roxanne, and Metroman likes rescuing her. It's a dance that never seems to end.
Could someone stamp my frequent kidnapping card?
You of all people know we discontinued that promotion.
Every time Megamind kidnaps Roxanne, they fight. Metroman wins some, and Megamind almost wins others. So, he gets 88 life sentences for that and his many other crimes. But he's a charming rogue who doesn't know how to quit. Thus, he breaks out of prison and kidnaps Roxanne again. Metroman flies off to rescue Roxanne. Sadly, he gets trapped in a copper dome that drains his powers. Then, Megamind blasts him with a death ray containing the concentrated power of the sun. With the hero dead, there is no one to stop Megamind and his diabolical plans. He takes over Metro City and does whatever he wants.
Imagine the most horrible, terrifying, evil thing you can possibly think, and multiply it by 6!
Doing whatever he wants all the time with no one to stop him isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Evil is running rampant through the streets.
So tired of running rampant through the streets.
Megamind gets bored, purposeless. He needs a challenge, but no one is strong enough or smart enough to challenge him. The people let him walk all over them and take whatever he wants.
It's just too easy now. What's the point of being bad when there's no good to try and stop you?
As the whole city mourns Metroman and Megamind struggles with his existential crisis, Hal keeps trying his luck with Roxanne.
I'm having a party at my house. It's gonna be like off the hook or whatever.
Roxanne doesn't feel like being around so many people right now, but Hal has it covered. He hasn't invited anybody else. It's going to be just the two of them. Hal has also hired a DJ and rented a bouncy house, just for the two of them. Roxanne still turns him down. It's a mystery.
I did hire a wedding photographer. That's just in case we were like something crazy happened and we wanted a picture of him.
In the depths of his depression, Megamind runs into Roxanne at the Metroman Museum. He disguises himself as a librarian called Bernard. One thing leads to another, and soon, Bernard and Roxanne are hanging out together and getting all romantic. Hal is uncomfortable with how comfortable they are around each other.
That was weird for everybody, because you accidentally hugged him instead of me.
Meanwhile, Megamind decides to solve his existential angst by creating a new hero, someone strong and brave enough to challenge him.
I'm going to give someone, I don't know who yet, Metroman's powers.
That lucky someone is Hal. After accidentally giving him Metroman's powers, Megamind tracks Hal down and tries to figure out the kind of man he is. Hal is 28, and there's absolutely nothing noteworthy about him.
No criminal record. Actually, no records at all. Apparently, this man hasn't accomplished anything.
Minion wants to reverse the procedure, but Megamind sees this as a plus. Hal is a blank slate that can be molded into the kind of hero that is just strong enough to stand up to Megamind. Megamind puts on another disguise and goes to train Hal.
You've been blessed with unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.
Hal can't control his powers just yet, but Space Daddy Megamind is eager to help. Hal is taught to fly, to jump, and to fight. Megamind teaches him everything that he will need to be a proper hero. At the same time, Megamind disguised as Bernard is moving from strength to strength in his relationship with Roxanne. He is falling for her, and it's making him less evil. When Roxanne complains how dirty the city has become since Megamind's takeover, Megamind cleans it up.
Why are we cleaning up the city, sir?
Well, we don't want to battle our new hero in a dump now, do we?
This thing is mutual. Roxanne is also falling for Bernard, aka Megamind. Even when he's training Hal, Megamind has this contented smile on his face. He just wants to spread the joy.
Do you have someone special in your life, Hal?
There's this really, really good-looking one I've got my eye on currently.
Hal completes his training, but before he starts his career as a heroic crime fighter, he goes to get his girl. She can't reject him now. He's tall and jacked, and he can fly.
The name's Titan.
Titan.
Your very own heroic guardian of pure awesome.
Jonah Hill delivering this line with the gay voice was just the perfect touch. Hal picks up Roxanne and takes her on a harrowing flight around town.
I should just rescue you a few times before we get all romantic. Whoops!
Hal drops and picks up Roxanne midair a couple of times. He puts her in danger and then rescues her, again and again. She's not amused.
Put me down! Right now!
Hal complies.
Are you crazy?
I suppose I'm a little crazy. How about you?
Roxanne asks him who he really is, and he realizes she doesn't recognize his voice. But no biggie, Hal doesn't let it bother him. He takes off his mask. Roxanne recognizes him, and Hal is so happy. They're finally going to be together. Roxanne isn't quite as enthusiastic as he is, but Hal knows it's just a matter of time. Couples fight all the time. He finds it cute.
This is so us. We're like an old married couple.
Look, there is no us, okay? There will never be an us.
We have to see that again. Rewind.
There's no us, okay? There will never be an us.
This changed everything. There is no us. Those 4 words changed the entire trajectory of this movie. They changed Hal. That just hammered the point home and shattered whatever bits of Hal's heart that were left. Hal goes through the usual stages of rejection. First, there's confusion.
But I have powers. I have a cape. I'm the good guy.
Hal doesn't understand it. He thought if he became a hero, he would get the girl. It's a very formulaic way of thinking. We love formulas. If I do this, I will get that. If I use pi r squared, I will find the area of that circle. But love doesn't work like that. Love has no formula that can be hacked. If it was, everybody would be happy. The heart wants what it wants. Hal's idea of love is very transactional. He thinks if he becomes a hero and saves the girl, you will get the girl. But that isn't love. That's just a transaction. It's like paying $5 for a Big Mac or $50 for a lap dance. A little more for a few kisses and a little lovin'. That's a transaction. It's not love. McDonald's doesn't give you Big Macs out of love. You have to eat your mom's steamed spinach to feel any love. It tastes like the devil's farts, but it's good for your health. Mickey D's would never do that because it doesn't love you. It just wants your money. For love to be love, it has to be freely given. If you have to pay for it with cash or by performing feats of heroism like a dancing monkey, what you're getting is not love. It's a service. It's a subscription that you have to renew every month or every day or every hour. But Hal doesn't know the difference. He paid for a service and he never got anything in return. He feels cheated even though Roxanne never told him she was selling her services in the first place. He created this unspoken contract with a list of expectations for her in his head, and then never told her anything about it. But he still expects her to honor this unspoken contract.
Supposed to be with me.
After she turns him down, Hal stalks Roxanne to a restaurant and watches her on a date with Bernard. Bernard is Megamind in a disguise, but nobody knows that, not even Roxanne. Hal just sees the girl he wants with a dweeby intellectual who doesn't deserve her, in his opinion, and cries about it. Meanwhile, Roxanne discovers that Bernard is really Megamind and dumps him. A sad Megamind loses his invisible car with the diffuser gun inside. He stops trying to be good and goes full villain. He puts on his scariest suit, crushes everything under his boot, and waits for Hal to come fight him. But Hal never shows.
Professional, that's what this is! Metroman have kept me waiting? Of course not! He was a pro!
Roxanne's rejection has driven Hal into a deep depression. He stays home all day playing video games, and he also does some stealing on the side. His apartment is littered with stacks of cash. Even Megamind is disappointed.
I can't believe you. All your powers, and you squander them for your own personal gain.
Megamind's disappointment is irrelevant, though. Hal has no interest in being a hero. He never had any interest in being a hero. He was a lazy loser with 0 accomplishments before he became a hero. And he's still a lazy loser now with all his powers. Apparently, you can't teach ambition.
I only took the gig to get the girl, and it turns out Roxanne doesn't want anything to do with me.
Megamind tries to motivate Hal into being a hero by revealing the secrets one by one. He created Hal and trained him. Then he adds one more thing.
I'm also the intellectual dweeb dating Roxanne.
No.
And we were smooching up a storm!
The provocation works. It actually works too well. Hal goes all out. For Megamind, the fight is just a game. He wanted a challenger, and now he has one. He's running, laughing, and having the time of his life. But Hal is taking it way more seriously than that.
Hal, you little freak! I want to see what that big braid looks like on the pavement!
Hal is unbelievably strong. He's fueled by rage and heartbreak and demons from Tartarus. Megamind strikes a few okay-ish blows, but then he gets beaten. Thoroughly. But this is still just a game to Megamind. He doesn't know just how screwed he is.
You can take me to jail now.
Oh, no. I was thinking more like the morgue. You're dead!
Megamind tries telling Hal that's not how you play the game. But this is not a game to Hal. He doesn't care about silly little rules. He really wants to kill Megamind for taking Roxanne. Megamind finally realizes just how bad he is about to have it and bails. He keeps calling for a timeout, but Hal keeps coming after him. Everything he does to try stopping Hal fails. The man has unfathomable powers. They are beyond fathom. When every trick fails, Megamind heroically runs away to Roxanne's apartment. Megamind is disturbed. He used a copper dome to try and drain Hal's powers. That's what weakened and killed Metroman. It should have worked on Hal, but it didn't.
The copper should have worked. Why didn't the copper work? The copper worked perfectly well last time.
Megamind's plan to beat Hal didn't work because it was based on how he beat Metroman. While looking for strategies on how to beat Hal, Megamind discovers that his strategy didn't work because he never really beat Metroman. Metroman just faked his death so he could focus on his music. He was tired of the whole superhero business. He is Music Man now. Music Man makes music that only the deaf can love, but he still refuses to return to Metro City. Even with news of Hal turning evil and destroying everything, he still refuses to return. He's done. Megamind, Roxanne, and the rest of the city are completely at Hal's mercy. Sadly, Hal is not a merciful man. He's got that hall monitor energy, but with godlike powers. It's a terrible combination. He doesn't even like being called Hal now. He prefers Titan, like the evil gods from Greek mythology.
Thank you. Titan has freed us.
Oh, I wouldn't say free. More like under new management.
Out of options, Roxanne tries to reason with Hal, but Hal is too far gone. The resentment, the anger, the bitterness, it's just too strong. Hal is drunk on power, and he only has two interests. The first one is destruction. The second is misspelling his superhero name. When he gets bored of lasering everything, Hal kidnaps Roxanne and dares Megamind to come rescue her. Megamind comes for her with a flying motorcycle. It's awesome, but then Hal throws an entire building at them and it becomes way less awesome, especially after they run out of gas. Megamind is wounded and trapped. Roxanne is left alone, but not for long. Hal spots her and throws a bus at her. He has gone from wanting Roxanne to wanting her dead, all because she rejected him. That answers the question. He obviously never loved her. How could anybody throw a bus at somebody he loves?
I know there's still good in you, Hal.
You're so naive, Roxy. You see the good in everybody, even when it's not there.
There was never any good in Hal. He was always evil. He was just too weak to do anything about it. When he gets some power, we see just how dark his soul is. He's throwing a bus at Roxanne, the girl we thought he loved. Roxanne braces herself and waits for the bus to crush her. But at the final moment, Metroman diverts the bus. He's back.
Please, let's have a little respect for public transportation.
Hal's swagger vanishes. When he was the most powerful man around, nothing bothered him. But when he's standing face to face with a guy who could seriously kick his butt and then feed it to him, he starts quivering.
Whoa, I thought you were dead.
My death was greatly exaggerated.
Metroman flexes his calves and Hal screams, "Mama!" Then he runs. Metroman pursues and corners him.
You know what's good for you, Titan. You'll stay out of Metrocity.
You got it.
Yeah, Metroman never came back. It's just Megamind in a Metroman disguise. And the wounded Megamind isn't actually Megamind. It's his fish minion in a Megamind disguise. Megamind has outsmarted Hal. Or has he? Well, Megamind has a nasty habit of mispronouncing certain words. He pronounces school as a shul and pronounces Metro City as Metrocity. This atrocity finally catches up with him and snitches on him.
Pretty sneaky, sis. But there's only one person I know who calls this town Metrocity.
Oops.
Megamind can't actually fight Hal. Hal is too strong, too fast, too angry. It's why Megamind resorted to trickery. He tries to burn Megamind with his laser eyes and throw cars at him. During this very one-sided fight, Roxanne spots the outline of Megamind's lost invisible car. But Megamind is having a hard time getting to it. Hal has the upper hand.
This is the last time you make a fool out of me!
You did the fool thing all by yourself!
Hal punches Megamind so hard he goes flying and cracks a solid stone wall. It's a blessing in disguise because Megamind's invisible car is close by. He crawls into it and recovers his diffuser gun. As the gun is warming up, Hal tosses him into the air, and as Megamind falls to his death, Hal goes after Roxanne. Luckily, Hal never gets his revenge on Roxanne because Megamind never falls to his death. He dehydrates himself, shrinks him into a cube, and falls into a fountain. The water instantly rehydrates him. He gets up and blasts Hal with the diffuser gun. This sucks all the power out of him. Hal deflates from a giant superhero to the dweeby little loser he was before. Megamind gets the girl, and Hal gets a jail cell.
Thing about bad guys, they always lose!
Hal, like a lot of bad people, destroys himself with his own actions. All he had to do was not be a big pile of donkey doo-doo, and he couldn't do that. He just had to stink up the whole city with the putrid stench of his soul. He had this very twisted idea of love in his head. He thought he could buy love with acts of heroism, and when he discovered it wasn't for sale, he tried to kill the object of his love. That is not cool. Love doesn't work like that. One of the best descriptions of love that I have found comes from that Bible verse they like to read at weddings. I have to add a disclaimer though, I've never attended a wedding because weddings are gay. All this information was revealed to me in a dream. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. The summary here is that love is selfless. When you love somebody, you want to do what is best for that person. But Hal doesn't care about what is best for Roxanne. He only cares about what is best for Hal. There is nothing inherently wrong with caring about yourself, but you need self-awareness to recognize the difference between love for somebody else and love for yourself. To Hal, Roxanne isn't really a person. She's just a trophy that he wants to win. She is an object that he can use to satisfy his own desires, like a jacket on a cold day or a shoe on a regular day. After objects serve their purpose, they are usually discarded. People are different. If you view them like disposable objects, you can't honestly claim to love them. Hal doesn't love Roxanne. He just wants to use her for her body and her pretty face. And when she refuses to let him use her, he flies into a murderous rage. This is the fatal flaw of Hal's worldview. He never gets the girl because he is too wrapped up in his own selfish desires to consider what she actually wants. That is not love. That's just trying to use another human like a jacket or a shoe or toilet paper.
Bad guy doesn't get the girl.
Maybe I don't want to be the bad guy anymore.